Has anyone died yet?
Turns out that selling life insurance to young, rich Bitcoiners is like a good business to be in.
Zach,
Good to meet you.
pleasure to meet you. How on earth did you end up creating Bitcoin life insurance?
Life insurance can sound like this really boring thing, but it's $3 trillion a year industry. It's 3% of global GDP. And it's actually very much about not just protection, but also about savings. So our ultimate goal is that anyone, anywhere can build, save, and protect their wealth. Bitcoin first, USD stablecoin sometime soon. But fundamentally, the dream is, you're a middle-class person in Argentina or Turkey or the UK or the United States, and you're able to make long-range financial decisions in these like great global stores of value.
Why do we need Bitcoin life insurance?
Yeah. Well, I guess we could start with why do we need Bitcoin? Which is, I'm not going to give a 40-minute Michael Saylor.
I'd enjoy it.
Yeah. I think we've all heard that pitch, but fundamentally, I like to think of Bitcoin as money. And money in the world, it moves, it's useful. It's not just gold in the ground. It's a currency, and it's unique in that it's global, it's decentralized, it has proof of work. But fundamentally, think of it as a currency. Okay, so that's step one. Why do we need Bitcoin? Because we need a global decentralized store of value that people can trust. And why do we need life insurance? Fundamentally, none of us know when we're going to die. And life insurance and life insurers work on this question of helping you think about the long term. That's why, again, something like 200 million people in the world have policies with long-term insurers. And that can be about savings. It can be about holding for a year, for 5 years, for 30 years, for 50. There's lots of different products, and some of these products sound very esoteric. They sound very boring, but fundamentally they're about helping people save for the long term. So why do we need Bitcoin life insurance? Because we think that if you're going to save in decades, you should be doing that in what is going to be a long-term store of value. And I like to say that, so I have an 8-year-old son, and if I bought a policy for him when he was born, and I bought a policy on myself for $1 million, I've seen the purchasing power of that policy go down 20-25%. I think it's probably the same here in the UK, something similar with pounds, just given the inflationary environment.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin's been up and down, but what we believe is if you're looking out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, which is when you're likely to die, that Bitcoin is going to be a durable store of value. So that's why we built a life insurance around that currency.
Let's say there are Bitcoiners watching. How does it actually work? What would they do?
Yeah, it is a shockingly simple product. It's just in Bitcoin. So I joke that we're running a long-term insurer from the 1830s. So it depends where you are. There's different tax rules that we try to optimize around to make sure that you have the best benefits depending on where you're a tax resident. But fundamentally, the policy looks like you give us a certain amount of Bitcoin, we give you more when you die. So that might look like you pay us 10 right now as a single premium. We pay you 15 when you die. If you're in the US, for various reasons, it's more like you pay 1 Bitcoin a year for 10 years, and then we pay you 15 when you pass away. That's the core of the contract. There tends to be lots of cool things around that, it goes to your kids tax-free. You can often borrow against the policy tax-free, so that if you ever needed to borrow money out to liquidate some Bitcoin, then it's a great way to do that. In most jurisdictions, that's tax-free. It's compounding tax-free. So we're able to get you more Bitcoin than if you were doing things yourself. So it sort of depends where you are, but the fundamental contract is you pay us 10, we promise you 15 when you die.
Okay, slightly morbid question.
Yeah.
Has anyone died yet?
No one has died.
You haven't done the full cycle
yet. It turns out that selling life insurance to young, rich Bitcoiners is a good business to be in. We have had someone surrender, which obviously we don't like, which means they asked for their money back and we paid them back. I think we are also somewhat unique in that although we are a completely Bitcoin-denominated financial institution, so we have this life insurance company. It's regulated in Bermuda. Bermuda is the insurance capital of the world. This is like where Chubb and Munich and AXA, like all these companies are here. It's a very good place to be. We're very fortunate to be regulated there. But then that all compounds, right? So the Bermuda Monetary Authority looks over us. To have that happen, you need like an actuarial opinion to make, that leads to an audit. So like we have an externally audited, completely Bitcoin denominated balance sheet. And all those things sort of like add up to us feeling confident that we're going to meet the promises that we're making, but also I think for our customers, like this isn't a fly by night, like we're going to rug pull people. It's all there. You can see it. It's very institutional in that way.
3 and 8 million Bitcoin could be lost. Do we have any sense of what percentage of that might have been to death? And is this a big selling point for you guys?
Yeah, I won't put an estimate on it, but I have heard a lot of, obviously, given the work we do, we hear horror stories about, not to be gendered, but like often, it's a husband dies, their wife doesn't know where their keys are. And this is a big part of what we do, right? So yes, there's a bunch of tax benefits, there's a bunch of estate planning benefits. We have a bunch of people who are buying policies because storing Bitcoin inside a life insurance contract in Bermuda sounds very attractive if you're worried about political risk or currency risk or jurisdictional risk. But at the end of the day, we're obliged, we're regulated to make sure that people are paying us and then we pay out when someone dies.
You're signing contracts that are presumably like 50, maybe even 100 years, and you're doing this on a 17-year-old asset.
Yeah.
Is that difficult sell to investors?
Well, it's interesting when you go back to who the customers. I would say we have people who really believe in Bitcoin, and then we do have like family offices or high net worth individuals who I think are more taking the advice from the BlackRocks and Franklin Templetons of the world, who are like, oh, I should have 1 or 2 or 3% of my assets in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They already know about life insurance as an amazing way to hold assets for the long term. They come to us and they make this decision. I think they're very comfortable with the idea that like Bitcoin could go to zero, but this is about diversifying and like currency risk. I don't know. We don't think a lot about like the day-to-day price movements or the month-to-month or even the year-to-year price movements. That's the benefit of being a long-term insurer who thinks in decades. But if you completely don't believe in Bitcoin at all, insofar as you think it's only 17 years old, then you shouldn't buy a life insurance contract. But for us, we think this is the currency of the future. There's a lot of people who agree, or there are a lot of people who agree enough that we sell a bunch of policies, and that works out.
You're obviously a big believer in Bitcoin. To make a bet that is decades in the future, you have to be a big Bitcoiner. What convinced you of its value originally?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. I think you can get into all this Austrian economics, and like I studied economics as an undergrad, and like what is money? Fundamentally, the belief in Bitcoin is a belief that, freedom and liberty and individual choice and the ability to self-custody, even if a lot of people don't self-custody, like that makes it a unique form of money, and that uniqueness will lead to durability. Even if the price, is down this year or, maybe not this decade, but this year or this month or this day, I think Bitcoin like transcends that because of these like truly simple core principles that it was built around.
Zach, it was a pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
so much.